this is going to sound very odd, but I enjoy Avatar as a ride and not as a movie. I enjoy it as an experience. I haven't seen it in the 4D where I assume like an usher comes and like spits in your mouth at some point. Like I don't know how that works.
Wait,
but,
they do that? That actually, I didn't know.
I don't know.
Is there a showing tonight?
In 2017, Universal Studios announced the birth of a new shared universe of monster movies, bringing their classic horror icons into the contemporary franchise film landscape. But after the critical and financial failure of its first installment, the project was indefinitely abandoned. Now, in 2025, the powers that be have called upon one pulp horror devotee and one snarky film critic to unearth the concept. I'm Dylan Roth.
And I'm Dalton DeShane.
Are you afraid of the dark universe?
Welcome back to Are You Afraid of the Dark Universe, the podcast where we attempt to resurrect Universal Studios' failed cinematic universe of monster movies one pitch at a time. I'm your amphibious host, Dylan Roth.
And I'm your wet host, Dalton DeShane.
And together we have been building out the Dark Universe into an ongoing narrative to rival the MCU. That's right, Dalton. I have the intro in front of me again.
Oh, you didn't memorize it.
I did not memorize it. I'm not going to steal valor about it. I have notes today.
Thank you for being honest.
No, this is very important.
It's fine. I've memorized our show's intro and you haven't. I guess I just care about the Dark Universe more than you do.
I guess you do, Dalton. I guess you're the real head here and I'm the fraud. However, I am amphibious and don't you forget it.
I also...
my toes are webbed.
Not only did I memorize it, but I watched the extended cut of the movie we're talking about today.
That's right.
And it was definitely on purpose and not because I torrented the wrong version.
No, we would never do such a
thing.
We
would never do that. We would never do that.
As
That's
you know,
illegal.
here on the Dark Universe, on the Are You Afraid of the Dark Universe, we are
we
very
support Universal
serious
Pictures
about copyright. We would never do anything to infringe upon Universal Studios' intellectual property.
Definitely not.
Anyway,
Universal, keep not suing us, please.
Every now and then, we invite one of our favorite storytellers to plumb the depths of American cinema and find another intellectual...
Depths.
Oh, that's always in there. That's not for today. But to plumb the depths of American cinema and find another intellectual property for us to fold into our massive franchise. Our guest today is a writer and actress who has contributed to all the nerdiest corners of your local internet, such as Honest Trailers, Dimension 20, and Actually. And she is one of the hosts of the world's only wrestling podcast, Tights and Fights. She recently consulted on Titan Takedown, a wrestling-themed season of D20 featuring WWE superstars Xavier Woods,
wow,
Kofi Kingston, Bayley, and Chelsea Green, premiering April 2nd exclusively on Dropout. Please welcome to the Dark Universe, Danielle Radford.
That was so many words about me. I don't know. Can I have you explain to my mom what I do? Because she still has no idea. She doesn't get it at all.
Next time someone wants a professional bio from you, just we'll have Dylan send one over for you.
Yeah,
really good
please.
at it.
I am one of those psychos who answers his phone. So if you were to call me next time that they ask and just put me up there, I'll read the intro.
Read it verbatim.
I will read it verbatim.
Because you did memorize that one, right?
Oh, that's,
you don't know
that's completely off the cuff. Definitely did not work on that for a bit today. I'm simply a genius.
Danielle, welcome to the Dark Universe.
Hi.
And thank you for picking the wettest film in our chronology so far.
I need to make it very clear. Mm-hmm. I did not pick Waterworld.
Right. I'm sorry.
The movie
I did not
that I picked was not. No. I want to because
yes.
I'm understanding. The problem. This is a problem of my own making.
Mm-hmm.
The movie that we are discussing today, we will probably talk about Waterworld, but I picked very specifically the Waterworld Stunt show at Universal Studios.
And this is so crazy because I was just at Universal Studios Hollywood for the first time in January, and the Waterworld Stunt show was closed. And I was so pissed because I've been to the Florida one and they don't have Waterworld there. Waterworld, one of the only things that's specific to Hollywood, and I didn't get to see it. And then you picked it, and I was like, well, at least I get to watch it on YouTube now.
I am so incredibly sad for you.
How many times have you seen the stunt show live?
Like person? Every time I go to Universal, I'm seeing that stunt show.
Yeah.
So that was actually, speaking of Tights and Fights, the only wrestling podcast and only podcast, actually. I didn't know there was another one. And then you guys were like, hey, you want to come on our podcast? And I was like, I don't think they make more than one.
This doesn't go out anywhere.
That's kind of what it's like when I had
like the Troy and Abed show on Community.
A radio show,
These microphones are plugged into nothing. We're just hanging out.
Oh, perfect. No, good thing I got up so early. Yeah, I took my mom there when she came into town because she was like, I want to go to Hollywood. And I was like, no, you want to go to the Hollywood that's on TV, so I'll take you to Universal Studios. Because you don't want to go to like actual Hollywood.
Yeah.
So I took her and we went to the stunt show. And when it was done, she was like, that was so amazing. Like everything, like I know that they're all just doing stunts, but it felt so real seeing it live. And, my heart's like racing. And I was like, that's wrestling. You haven't understood. All of my life, you've been like, she hasn't been like shitty about it, but she's always been like, hey, wrestling, I get that you like it, but it's fake. She wanted to make sure that her child wasn't stupid. She wanted to make sure that at the age that I started watching wrestling, she hadn't raised a stupid child who still thought wrestling was real. So I was like, I've been like, yeah, but it's also like, it's interesting and it's exciting the same way a movie is. So Waterworld Stunt Show is how I explained to my mom that wrestling was real or why wrestling worked. And it didn't hurt that wrestler Christopher Daniels is also the deacon on Waterworld.
Really?
No. Yeah, that's Christopher Daniels, and I believe in the clip that I sent you. Yeah.
I'm gonna jump ahead a little bit to say that my first thought was, one of the things that I wrote down here is I way prefer this Deacon to Dennis Hopper's Deacon, and that's that's the fallen angel himself, Christopher Daniels.
Is the fallen angel himself. I'm sure that they had like multiple people because Christopher Daniels can't actually be there 7 days a week.
No, he's producing
but most of the ones that you see online are him because he is kind of the fucking best one.
He's great.
Crazy.
Fight me.
Yeah, I've always described wrestling as if a bunch of stunt people got together and put on a musical without any songs.
Exactly. No, that's 100% correct.
Yeah, the Waterworld Stunt Show, very close to that.
Yeah, like it's just like with a musical, like you bust into like things, the emotions become so high that you can no longer express them in words. You must express them through song. And the Waterworld Stunt Show, much like wrestling, you must express them through, setting dudes on fire.
Yes. And lots of jet skis.
So many jet skis.
What if there was a musical, but every time they wanted to sing, they rode jet skis? That's Waterworld.
That's Waterworld. Yeah. And I would watch the shit out of that. And you would too.
Yeah,
that's what Dan Trachtenberg is working on right now for the presumptive TV adaptation or sequel of Waterworld.
Dan Trachtenberg, director of Prey and 10 Cloverfield Lane, is supposedly working on a Waterworld TV series right now. We'll see if that happens.
No Christopher Daniels, count me out.
And what I read is that it's a sequel series.
It's a sequel series. Well, so is the stunt show.
Yeah, but okay. But when
with
you
some canon adjusted.
Right, I understand, Dalton,
and
that you
cannons.
know more about more about theme parks than I do.
Yes.
But my understanding is you develop a thing like this and you put it out around the time that the movie comes out because the assumption is that this movie has been a smash hit and everybody saw it and they want to see the sequel and you can see it only here live at the theme park. However, this was not exactly the case with 1995's Waterworld.
Which came out 30 years ago.
Came out 30 years ago this year. We are celebrating the 30th anniversary of Waterworld as everybody
30th.
At home. Everybody's got their cosplay. Everyone's dressed as Helen or Enola or the Mariner right now.
Excuse me,
yeah, we're all going around, smacking kids, asking if they're dumb.
Throwing them overboard, It is pretty amazing. Danielle, do you have any info on why this is still open at Universal Studios Hollywood? Because they do tend to chase more current IP, and yet the Waterworld Stunt Show has not changed.
Well, so before it was the Waterworld Stunt Show, it was Miami Vice. It was a Miami Vice stunt show.
Incredible.
And then it changed to the Waterworld Stunt Show. And I really think it was just like, well, we've got all this water. we've got a pier and we've got a hydroplane. So what are we going to do with it? That's one of those ones, as much as I love breaking kayfabe in wrestling, I will not do it with the Waterworld Stunt Show. I want it to remain pure. So I just like to assume that someone was just a real big fan of Waterworld and was like, you know what, never got its day. Honestly, what it probably was they spent so much money on it. They were like, hey, if they're in a theme park, they're a captive audience. If we do cool stuff and we spray them with water, they're going to come and bring their kids. So we might as well get something out of this IP that's like doing the worst. Not anymore, not since Dark Universe, but was one of the worst things that they had done, like famously.
Over at Universal Studios Florida, there's only one ride from opening day that's still running, and it's the E.T. ride. And the rumor is that it's because Steven Spielberg will not let them close it because he still has like a stake in the park. And he's like, I'll pull all my money out if you close E.T. And I just love imagining Kevin Costner having like the same thing with the. He's like, if you fucking close the stunt show, you're broke. Yeah.
I'm taking you for everything you got. That Steven Spielberg has a real thing for that. For like, I also used to work. Just a quick aside. I used to work at GameWorks, and GameWorks, the first one in Seattle, like that was a Steven Spielberg joint, or partially. It was like Steven Spielberg because he got the idea when he was making Jurassic Park. They were filming on, I think, Hawaii, and he was like playing video games a lot, like at a local arcade. And he was like, hey, this would be really cool if I could do this with like drinks and whatever. And then that became GameWorks. And then he stopped being involved at some point. And then Dave and Buster's stole the idea. So Dave and Buster's thieves. And I remember when I was working there, like we used to have hardcore rules about no one taking pictures or video because they were afraid that someone was going to steal the idea. And it's like, well, anyone, I mean,
you can walk in. It's a public place.
And also the idea is just video games and booze, but like all the lights are on and you clean the carpets more often than at an arcade. It's not a hard idea. Kids have birthdays there. Like you don't really need to go in and like with your spy camera and your glasses and like try to like steal what it's going to be. It's a pretty easy concept to get. Sorry, Stephen.
We've gone pretty far into this without asking, I think,
our
at least
usual
for
question
me,
is
I have a different question.
Oh,
actually.
do you? Okay.
Danielle, have you seen Waterworld?
Yeah, I've seen Waterworld. I think we did a trailer on Waterworld.
Okay.
And it was, so when I was working at Honest Trailers, there were a couple of running jokes of like gags we always tried to get in that didn't always get in. And then sometimes they did. One for me was I was constantly putting in references to that old Budweiser ad, the and twins. I think it might've been Coors Light. I was constantly putting in reference. And then finally that got in and I was very proud, but I was constantly throwing in the and twins one. And then another one, me and fellow writer Joe Starr were constantly putting in references to the Waterworld Stunt show.
Incredible.
And I think that might have been the reason why we did the Waterworld trailer. I don't remember what year we did it, but we finally did one. And I think it was just so head writer Spencer was like, okay, will y'all stop? And we didn't. though, is the thing. We didn't stop making references to the Waterworld Stunt show that would get cut. I think one made it in once because we're obsessed, because it's the best thing that's ever happened to any of us.
Well, and that's why it would be understandable if you were just a fan of the stunt show and were like, but I don't need to see the movie.
I think it's more understandable than being a fan of the film, to be honest.
I'm not. Yeah. I didn't say I was a fan of the film. I've seen the film for work purposes. And I think I probably saw it like on cable at one point when I was like younger. Mm-hmm. Have I seen it as often as I've seen the Universal Presents Waterworld Stunt show? No, not at all. And one of those I can do from my home. The other one I have to go to a place. I have to take a train. But no.
So I suppose that the usual question is what your relationship is to the work that you've selected. And I guess you sort of told us the story, right? Where this is special to you because it helped you explain a thing that's important to you to your mom.
That's part of it. And then also just it fucking rips. It's so cool.
When the plane comes over the thing, it's like,
come on. You can feel like there's just something about those moments where obviously we all love suspending our disbelief, but the Waterworld Stunt show is a moment where like your disbelief is like suspended for you. You are live. You are actually watching people get on fire. You are actually watching the plane come through. You are watching people dive off of these really like, high platforms and like swing on these ropes and like zip lines and whatever. So, and when this is happening, you can feel like the water, you're right there. So you're feeling as the splash comes in, the water is hitting you, not just the guy with the gun, although there is a guy with the gun. So if you are Black, I suggest you sit higher up because Black folks, we don't like to get our hair involuntarily wet. If I'm going to get my hair wet, it's going to be my choice and not the choice of like, some teenager at Universal. But
beware the splash zone. Yeah.
Beware the splash zone. It is a real thing. But you can feel like that. You can feel the heat when the fire comes in. If anywhere in that area, it feels hot. It feels like fire. So you get so completely like sucked into it that it really is like a ride. And this is going to sound very odd, but I enjoy Avatar as a ride and not as a movie. I enjoy it as an experience.
Yeah, I get
Meaning
that.
I like Avatar when it's the 3D where you're able to like see everything. I haven't seen it in the 4D where I assume like an usher comes and like spits in your mouth at some point. Like I don't know how that works.
Wait,
but,
they do that? That actually, I didn't know.
I don't know.
Is there a
I
showing
just assume
tonight?
so. I bet you could pay extra. I've been in a movie theater usher. They could use the extra $20.
Yeah.
So that is one of those things where like it's immersive and it brings you into it. And that is what I like about the stunt show. Plus, because it's a lot closer and it's a lot like closer meaning proximity to you, to the action than a Cirque du Soleil or something like that. Or the circus where then you also have to worry like, ooh, that tiger don't want to be here. You know, like it's, you know, like these death-defying stunts and you're watching professionals do this. So you go into it knowing that these are people who know what they're doing, that everyone's going to be safe, but it's still, at the end of it, you are changed. You have had an experience.
Just like wrestling.
Just like wrestling. And like Avatar the movie for like a very specific forum of people, message boards back when that was a thing, who thought that maybe they could take enough drugs and they would be in Pandora. I hope they got help.
I hope they got to Pandora, you know?
And I hope it was everything they wanted.
Now,
yeah, very blue.
As much as I would like to just continue diving deeper, pun intended, into Waterworld, we should touch on the dark universe a little bit. Danielle, do you have any relationship to the classic Universal monsters or to horror in general? Are you a horror fan?
I've become a horror fan. It's wild. When I was younger, super into horror. I've said this before. I don't know why it is. I think all little girls are super into horror, like in the same, you know, I don't know what that is, but I was very, like, I would read Christopher Pike novels. Are Afraid of the Dark was one of my shows. I love the Nightmare on Elm Street series. I got really into it. And then I think sometime around the time when horror got really, I think like that torture porn era, I feel like that era like kind of collided with recognizing that I am a mortal human being and I'm not in fact invincible. And my own mortality kind of set in, that it became a little less fun for me. Another fun wrestling fact, that's also around the time when I stopped like being super into hardcore matches where they're like making each other bleed, just a whole my own mortality thing. But I think it was really with horror, like the torture porn is like not for me. There's always been like a bunch of, you know, like blood and guts and all of that stuff, and that is very much a part of the genre, but I just didn't, you know, like any of the Hostel movies or any of that stuff just didn't really do it for me. But, you know, then there was like this pendulum swing to people trying to make horror where it's like, oh, there's like elevated horror. It's like horror that's like better than horror. And it's like, man, can we just go back to like when it could be anything, when it could be like, there's always been elevated horror and there's always been kind of more gory stuff, but horror can also be goofy. It could be funny. It can be low budget and you can see the strings and all of those things were fun. And I feel like more than anything, that is more of where we're at now with horror. So all of that to say that, like, yeah, I loved like a lot of the old Universal horror, because obviously like that was like the olden days, so it wasn't like it was like a ton of blood or anything like that, and it was all black and white. And you know, any of the like was it Three Stooges or Elvis and Costello, or all of them, like meeting any of these dudes?
Oh yeah, Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein and the Mummy.
Yeah. Any of those are super fun. And I think more than anything, those kind of Universal monsters and those Universal like movies, those lived on through in the same way that a lot of kids know a lot about like old movies and like the golden age of Hollywood from The Simpsons. I feel like a lot of those, like Scooby-Doo brought a lot of that forward and made those at least those archetypes, if not necessarily those particular characters, something really, really popular. So yeah, always grown up on those. I loved those. I remember when they announced the Dark Universe and because at the time I was working for Screen Junkies and we were all like, the way that you start, and even back then, this was the first time we really saw like concrete evidence that this is how you shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
But we all kind of knew that the way to do something like this is not to just confidently slap your dick on the table, or in this case, in like a spread in like, I don't know, the Hollywood Reporter or whatever the fuck, with Variety or whatever, with everybody, and be like, oh yeah, like we're so confident that everyone's going to love it that we're going to earn the goodwill of the public enough that they'll want to see 6 of these. It's like, no, just concentrate on making one really good movie. And then from there, you can expand the universe, but don't make one movie where you're also introducing a bunch of other people. And you're trying to make it where it's like, oh, it's like a backdoor pilot for these other movies. Like, no, even in Iron Man, like they made Iron Man, and then, you know, they threw in Samuel L. Jackson like at the end in like a post-credit scene. And so that could have been something, or it couldn't have been something, but it was like a fun thing instead of just coming out and being like, oh yeah, we're definitely doing this. How about you just make one good movie first?
Yeah, it unfortunate, but the good news is it's saved now and it's good.
That's right.
Now it's saved. Now it's good.
We are now 28 movies in.
Yes,
plus guest pitches.
The Dark Universe is thriving.
It's amazing. I'm so proud that they were able to like bring this back from the brink, because it was looking dire.
Well, they had a little help from a couple handsome screenwriters here. I suppose, though,
we should talk about Waterworld.
We should at least summarize the film Waterworld.
Yes, just so we have to set up the prequel, the movie prequel to the stunt show.
The prequel to the stunt show, yes. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Now, I did, like I said, I accidentally watched the 3-hour version of this. That's
insane. No one asked you to do that.
I assumed,
so sorry.
Because it's the most, at the time, it was the most expensive movie ever made. And I assumed, like, oh, yeah, they probably then put it all on the screen, all 3 hours. And at no point did it really feel like an extended cut. And it's funny, I was reading reviews from, like, our friend Branson Reese, and his review was like, it just keeps going and going. And now I'm realizing he was only watching the 2-hour and 15-minute cut.
That's kind of how I felt about it, too. So I also watched the theatrical version of the film. Although now I'm curious, I think the one that get me to watch.
I'm going to say you really like the Ulysses fan.
All right, so
I like the Ulysses cut. Did your cut have the big CGI fish?
Yes.
Or is that just in mine? Okay, just making sure.
But it's not really set up in any way, and it's never mentioned again.
Yeah, no, that's the same.
Okay.
I love it.
Okay, Waterworld is a 1999 film directed by
No, it's not.
Sorry, 1995.
There we go.
Right. Waterworld is a 1995...
Honest Trailers here is going to get your ass for saying stuff like that.
Waterworld is a 1995 film directed by Kevin Reynolds, who was Kevin Costner's collaborator on some of his films, such as Dances with Wolves and Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. It was an unbelievably expensive movie set in a future Earth where the ice caps have melted and almost all of the land is gone. I have great news, by the way. Even if all of the ice caps melt, we will not be in complete Waterworld.
Oh, that's good.
There's not enough water on Earth to cover all of the surface of the Earth.
Oh, good.
So there will be dry land.
So there will be some.
Yeah.
I'm sure that there are billionaires right now who are doing a Lex Luthor type scheme to buy a lot of future coastal property in like Ohio and New Mexico or Arizona. But you do not have to go to the top of Mount Everest to find dry land.
That's great. That's great news.
However,
for all of us.
all three of us live on the coasts and we'll just drown. So in Waterworld, it's generations past, right? This is a post-apocalypse.
We should mention that it starts with the Universal logo actually flooding.
It is one of the best alternate logos for a movie. I am a big fan of this one.
And then a hard cut to Kevin Costner pissing in a jar and drinking it.
And not to get too far afield, this movie was very transparently pitched as, what if we ripped off Mad Max and we put it on the water? And Mad Max Fury Road opens with Max pissing off a cliff.
Hey, that's
which
true.
Which I think could very well be a recursive reference right back to Waterworld.
Yeah.
Love that.
So in this world, people live on these sort of communities that are floating on the floating called atolls, and that's where people kind of survive and trade with each other. But there are also drifters out there who travel from atoll to atoll, exchanging goods and just exploring the ocean. Some of them are looking for the mythical dry land,
it doesn't exist.
Which most people They believe in it in sort of a religious way. And I think there's a nice implication where the reason they believe in it is they're like, well, because we have arms and legs, so we must have come from land. Great deduction. And it's also, I think, a nice piece of world building where it really establishes how long humanity has been adrift. That they have to theoretically, they've put together, we're not built for the water. There must have been land.
There's also like this great scene of someone like, I mean, I was stroking the right word, like kind of sensually stroking like pieces of paper.
Yeah.
It's paper. Can you believe it is paper? Oh, look at it. It's paper. Yeah.
These relics of the old world that are very valuable to them.
I think the world building in this is really good. Like, other than the opening monologue, at no point does anyone be like, and this is how things work here in Waterworld, and like give like a whole, like, it all feels like very, well, aside from when Kevin Costner says, nothing's free in Waterworld, which is an actual line in the movie. But like,
Can we just start calling like our world? Can we call it like Earth World or like Dry World or something? I feel like it's not enough descriptors.
I do like that they have a different name for drinking water. They call drinking water hydro, which makes sense because everything is water.
Right.
This isn't just water. This isn't salt water. This is drinking water. So it's called something different. I like that.
Yeah, but my argument against calling it Waterworld is that if this is the only world you ever know or have historical records of it,
right.
This is like if we called our world Land World.
Yeah, it is.
We should.
It's exactly that joke about the two fish. You know, one says, how's the water today? And the other one says, what's water? It's it's exactly that. You wouldn't comment on it.
The film follows a nameless mutant who we call the Mariner. He has a rare mutation that apparently people are sort of aware of exists, where he has gills behind his ears and webbed toes, which make him uniquely suited to thrive in Waterworld.
I was hooting and hollering at that reveal. I had no idea there was going to be a gill man in this. That's a Universal Monsters comparison right there, the gill man.
Yeah, it's like who's that swimmer who smoked all the pot and they were like
Michael
body.
Phelps. Yeah,
Michael Phelps. It's like a Michael Phelps thing where it's like he was just like built for the water. So what I'm saying is, I bet the Mariner can rip a bong like nobody's business.
Oh, I'm sure. If you could find one, it would be very expensive.
He dug a few up from someone's apartment down on the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
He's got a little potted lime tree on his boat, and I bet in an earlier draft that was a weed plant.
Oh yeah.
So the Mariner comes across a small floating community where there is a little girl named Enola who has a tattoo on her back. She's a foundling, and she's had a tattoo on her back since she was found as a baby. That, legend has it, is secretly a map to dry land. She's under the care of a character named Helen, played by Jeannie Triplehorn of Big Love.
Who is not related to Katherine Heigl, despite looking shockingly similar. I had to look it up.
Also, I just really want to know who's tattooing a baby, because I've seen those
what the fuck?
Those like TikToks of people giving like chiropractors working on babies, and I'm like, I don't know, that doesn't feel like a good idea at all. So does someone's like tattooing a baby?
It was
what
those
a waste of
skeletons
hydro.
at the end, right? Did you guys see those skeletons at the end?
Yes,
they did the tattooing.
They probably did it. It's probably her parents. This little white girl with her Japanese parents. The baddies of this film, they're a gang called Smokers. Not just because they ride on motorized vehicles, whereas most people are sailing, but because they have a huge stash of cigarettes, and they're constantly offering them to people in trade.
Is that true? I missed that detail.
Yeah, he's always offering people cigarettes.
Oh, yeah,
he throws them out like again, another thing that
that
feels like, I'm sure this one's a coincidence, but the water thing, the sort of water-driven despot of Fury Road, Immortan Joe. He has the Deacon, Dennis Hopper's character, the villain, has a similar moment in this where his crowd of followers that he's lying to are all below, and he's like, cigarettes for everyone.
That's right.
And ironically, you would get addicted to it. So the Deacon and his gang find out about Enola and her tattoo and will stop at nothing to get her so they can find dry land and expand their empire beyond the sea. The Mariner is a gritty loner who hates everybody because he's been ostracized for having webbed feet and gills,
and he hates kids.
In fact, there's a scene early on where the Mariner, but they think he's just a guy who's drifting through, and this community needs to diversify the genetic makeup of their town, and so these parents basically try to barter sex with their daughter and say, we can have all the food and water that you want until she gets pregnant. Which, okay, not a cool thing to do, especially since she doesn't say a word about it. And then when they find out he's a mutant, they say, never mind. And my thought is, yo, this is the only guy whose offspring are going to survive. He should be paid
tons of this guy.
Absolute. People should be tripping over themselves for this guy's cum, and they're not even interested. It's insane.
Yeah, they're throwing away good fish cum.
Yeah, he's just wasting it every day into the deep.
Yeah.
I assume he comes every day.
I assume. It's good
I'm
for
making
you.
assumptions. Yeah.
He is very chaste throughout this, though, until
it's his
the end.
One redeeming quality for most of the movie is that he is pointedly not a rapist.
Yes, he will not. He will slap a child. He will throw that child in the ocean.
He's horrible. He doesn't care what happens to you. However, if there is dubious consent, he's out. And we applaud him for it.
It's 1995. That's like the best we could get.
But also, I don't know if he gets softened up that more realistically in the extended cut, bud. I hate this guy.
Yeah, he's not a good guy. And Kevin Costner also doing nothing. He is...
No.
He is the weak... Look, as someone who liked it, the weak point for me was Kevin Costner, who is just like not giving a performance.
Which is wild because this is his baby. This is like his passion project. But there is no passion. Where did the passion go, Kevin? Where did the passion go?
I think
maybe it was like the 50 days at sea making this movie that just killed his enthusiasm.
I mean, to be fair, that does sound rough.
I think he thought he was giving like a really stoic, mysterious performance. But it's just kind of blank.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. 157 days at sea shooting this film.
Wow. That's like $1 million a day, basically.
I went on a cruise last summer with my family, and I was very ready to get off that boat at like day 7. So I can't imagine another 150 of them.
Oh, I do love when they finally get to dry land and they talk about the land sickness. And when he's about to leave, he says, like, this place doesn't move right. And Enola's like, no, that's just land sickness. We all have it. Like, it'll go away after a while. And I like that because it's like, yeah, these people have only ever been on the sea. Like, being on a stationary, like a truly stationary thing like dry land would be extremely disorienting.
Mm-hmm.
So that's Waterworld.
Wait, we haven't talked about Dennis Hopper.
Oh, Dennis Hopper plays the Deacon. He is, like I said, the Immortan Joe type, or I guess really he's Lord Humongous, right? Because this movie is the Road Warrior.
Yeah.
At sea. And he loves bits.
He's doing his classic Dennis Hopper stuff of just being an insane guy.
Yeah. From this to like Blue Velvet to King Koopa.
I kept thinking of King Koopa. Yeah, I feel like this is a not as good version of his King Koopa. If only because he never says the word.
Which is a wild thing to say.
Stupid. Which I always enjoyed as a line reading.
I love Dennis Hopper in this. I don't know if there were more Dennis Hopper bits in the extended version. There probably were because he was just constantly doing bits. He also loses his eye in an explosion, which I feel like hard to. I don't think about your eye getting poked out when you get in an explosion, but maybe it melted.
Shrapnel flying.
Yeah, could be something like that.
Yeah, the pressure, just one.
That could be. Oh, that's even worse.
He's under a lot
thinking
of
about
pressure.
that.
Yeah, he's under a lot of pressure.
I think she meant the air pressure from explosive.
Okay. And then they find dry land, and it's Mount Everest, and that's Waterworld. And then we get the stunt show, which is a sequel with a couple notable changes. One, the Deacon is somehow still alive, despite having definitely died at the end of Waterworld. And Helen is suddenly a fucking badass. Like, that is not in the movie. I don't think she throws a punch once in the movie. Like, she's
much, much cooler in the stunt show.
Yeah, in the stunt show.
Everyone is much cooler in the stunt show.
She's like the hero. She's going around and beating the shit out of everybody, waiting for the Mariner to finally show up. She goes back to a new atoll. Presumably all the survivors built a new one.
Right, they know her. Right, so it must be a new atoll from like probably like, what's his name? The guy, Old Gregor. He probably flew them there.
Gregor should be in the stunt show.
We all remember Old Gregor, right?
Yeah.
From Waterworld? The
Danielle,
Yoda of the 90s.
when was the last time you saw Waterworld, Danielle? Is any of this ringing a bell?
It was probably like 6 or 7 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was like a minute. It's been a minute. I did not go back and rewatch the 3-hour cut.
Well, of course not, because you're not pitching Waterworld. You're pitching the Waterworld Stunt Show. And
So you watched the 3-hour cut of the Waterworld Stunt Show.
Yeah. Oh God, please. For my birthday.
it's just 3 more hours of crowd work at the beginning of them.
Oh God. Oh, not another minute of crowd work.
They
I
were
was
having a
very
great
charmed.
time.
I will say we were
having a great time.
We will include
I
in
hate
the
crowd
show
work.
notes a link to the version of the stunt show that Danielle shared with us from Laughing Place, a YouTube channel. That I watched the whole crowd work section, even though Dalton told me what timestamp the show was starting. I was like, I'll give it a shot. The guy who was leading the crowd work, I was delighted.
he was
I
great.
found him very charming.
Yeah, if you're like going and sitting down and like, you know, like getting comfortable and everything else, like it's fine. It's just as a stand-up comic, like I crowd work has its place.
Yeah.
I can't watch 20 minutes of crowd work. I can't do it.
I get that.
It
You're too
hurts.
close to it. Have you ever
I'm too close to it.
Have you ever been disappointed in the Waterworld Stunt Show? Have you ever gone and been like, it was off today?
Nope. Every
No,
time.
every
No Costner's in this cast, baby. No one's phoning it in.
Yeah, it hits.
Everybody's
every
giving
time.
110%.
How ironic! The one man who didn't deliver in this film was the postman.
Hey!
Oh,
There's a-
come on. Let's go. Come on. That's what you want when you tell a joke, right?
Yeah.
You just want someone to cheer you up.
Yes.
Like, oh, yeah, let's
Like
fucking
Mandy
do
Moore's
it.
character in Scrubs going, that's so funny.
So, not a lot of plot to the stunt show. She comes back to try to lead everyone to dry land. The deacon shows up, starts burning the place to the ground. There's a lot of jet skis. There's a lot of fighting. There's a lot of zip lines, which I wasn't expecting. Lots of zip lines.
It's
It's a great way to travel over water, Dalton.
It absolutely. They do so much swinging in the movie,
But what's
which is great.
cheaper, building a bunch of ramps or building a zip line? Zip line.
Look, that's what I learned playing. Hello Kitty Island Adventure. You just want to get a bunch of zip lines just connecting different parts of the island over the water.
There you go. Offering gaming advice as well.
Hello Kitty's a smoker. Hello Kitty's a deacon, actually.
Hello Kitty, like all dirty and grimy, like the smokers, and riding like a jet ski is a delightful image with a cigarette in her mouth.
Oh, come on. Especially because she's not a cat. She's a little girl, apparently.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah, Hello Kitty's not a cat. Hello Kitty is a little girl. It's a whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sanrio.
I will ask no
look,
follow-up questions.
I love Sanrio. I've written for Sanrio. Come on. She's a little girl.
She's a
She's
little
not
girl.
a cat.
I'm not
She's
gonna
a
argue.
cat-shaped little girl. In her future, where there's nothing but other cat-shaped little girls, I guess she evolved that way, much like the Mariner did.
She lives in Cat Girl world.
And they call it Cat Girl World.
Yes.
Oh.
Even though none of them are cats. They're all
Yes.
little girls.
And well, in the future, they're like, why do we call it Cat Girl world? I don't even know what a cat is, you know?
Yeah, they're just girls here.
At the end, a plane jumps over the wall, and it's really cool.
Yes.
That's sick.
And then
So sick.
the whole place explodes. And that's basically the stunt show.
Yeah. Do we have anything more we want to say about the stunt show before we hear Danielle's take?
Yeah, I think everyone is fascinated to know, Danielle, exactly what you have brought to us today. And now we should actually talk about, I don't think we've gone into the nitty gritty. Before we go to break, we explained the premise of the show. We sent you an email. And the first thing that you came back to us with was the Waterworld Stunt Show. Now, we've had a lot of guests take a lot of different strategies for picking their subject for the show. We've had some people that just start on the Wikipedia page for Universal movies and go down it till they hit something that sounds interesting.
Sounds like a smart strategy.
We've had people go the other direction. We've had people pitch things that are not Universal movies, but have just been so enthusiastic about it that we say yes. What was the thought process that led to you going, yes, The Waterworld Stunt Show.
I just figured everyone already took all the movies that probably made sense, and I will never give up an opportunity to talk about the Waterworld Stunt Show. I wish it was anything more than literally as soon as someone says pick a Universal movie, me saying, "Oh, I want to pick the Waterworld Stunt Show and see if they'll let me get away with this."
You have found
it was
the
a dare to both myself and you. So, and we both lost, I think.
Every time you go on a podcast, you're like, can I talk about the Waterworld Stunt Show? And everyone has said no until now.
I met Christopher Daniels recently. We did an interview with him for like a wrestling related movie that he was there for. And I spent my entire time not talking about how he just retired from wrestling, but telling him about how important the Waterworld Stunt Show is. It's really an issue. It's really a problem.
That was probably very charming for him because like people who are famous for one particular thing, I feel like they like being asked about the thing people don't ask them about, right?
Yeah,
he probably became his new best friend.
I'm realizing that like this has become like my version of that like ET2 ride that like so many people are like obsessed with. Oh no, I'm not even like a theme park girly. I just like that thing.
I think after this, you are officially a theme park girly. I think this is going to seal the deal. Do you have any other favorite rides at Universal Hollywood, or do you basically just go for Waterworld?
I mean, everything else is like fine, like whatever, like it's cool. I used to enjoy like going to. I will say, when I went to Harry Potter Land with my mom, my mom was very indignant because she was like, "Well, the wand, not the special stuff, doesn't happen for every kid with the wand, and that ain't fair, baby." And I'm like, well, I guess this is where we teach them life isn't fair. I don't know.
This is where we teach them about capitalism and that some people can afford the robot wands and some people just get the plastic ones. And that's how the United States works.
Sorry, kids. But I like the Simpsons. The Simpsons ride is really, really fun because you feel like you're on like a whole ass roller coaster. And I think that that's the thing I like about it. If it was just like a roller coaster, I don't know if I would be as into it, but it's the fact that you are tricking yourself into believing that you are riding a roller coaster. Man, I really like when people fucking lie to my face. That's what we've learned. The stunt show, wrestling, the Simpsons ride, lie to my face and make me like it, and I'll love you forever. I'll know you're lying, but I'll dig it. Ooh, that's toxic. I gotta work on some shit. I gotta work on some stuff.
If you lie to me in service of me having a good time.
Yeah.
Right?
And in a way where I know it's a lie, but like, fool me, daddy.
Yeah. Especially, like the thing with like wrestling, like, I don't know about you, but I'm someone who loves wrestling, but I don't like MMA kind of stuff because I do like that I know that they're being safe.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
That's exactly 100% it. Like MMA is like, fine, I'll watch it. I'll watch boxing. But I like that wrestling is like, we're going to put on a little violence play for our friends. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't like the idea of people actually like, even because with wrestling, even if you like hate each other, there's like rules about like, you have to work with each other. And if you like hurt each other, you get to like, there's receipts and there's all kinds of things. Like, I like that way more than I like, just don't hit him in the balls, but you can fucking do whatever the rest. Oh, I hate it. Why are you hitting that other boy?
And it's never as interesting to watch either at the same time.
No.
Why do I want to watch people hurt each other for real if it's boring when I can watch people expertly pretend to hurt each other and it's awesome?
Yeah, I don't want to watch a real person like zip line into a fire and then like a plane come right at my face. That sounds terrifying. But the Waterworld Stunt Show, I want to watch that because it's safe. And I know everyone's playing safe.
None of us wants to live in Waterworld. It would be horrifying. About 10 minutes into the movie, I was like, oh, if I lived in Waterworld, I'd kill myself.
I'll just die.
I am not cut out for this.
Yeah, no, thank you.
No, I'm not meant for it.
You know who was cut out for it? Somebody in this film did a Star Trek, Dalton. In fact, a great number of Star Treks. Welcome to Did a Star Trek, the segment that I've never actually identified as a segment before, but we're doing it today.
Yes.
Mr. John Fleck plays the smoker doctor. He has, in the cut of the movie I watched, maybe 2 lines, one of which is, but he's in it, and he is a multi-time Star Trek guest star. He was on The Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and is best known as Silic, the main Suliban baddie on Star Trek Enterprise. He also did what I would consider a curtain call on an episode of The Orville. Now back to our show.
Did everyone notice Jack Black in this as well?
Jack Black is also in this. He plays but he's never done a Star Trek, so I don't care. He plays the pilot of the smoker plane from
Yes.
which they try to do a strafing run.
Now that's
on
a fun set piece, huh? With the rope on the plane and it's going around. I had a blast during this movie.
The set pieces are all fun. The movie, how about, let's bring this around to a wrestling metaphor to wrap things up. The set pieces in this movie are all great, but I don't care about what's happening. It's an AEW pay-per-view, baby.
It's a spot fest.
Oh wow, it is spot fest.
Shots
fired. It could be 90 minutes and it would be fine. It could be, you know what? I'll even say it could be 100 minutes and it would be fine. I'll give them 10 more minutes.
I gave them 171 minutes.
You gave them too many minutes. You gave them too many minutes. But
I gave them too many minutes. And then plus the stunt show, that was like, I gave almost 200 minutes of my life to Waterworld.
So many minutes.
And with that,
maybe the most minutes. Yeah.
We'll find out how many minutes Danielle Radford's version of the Waterworld Stunt Spectacular are going to run when we come back from our break. We'll stay tuned for a clip from a podcast that asked us to put a thing on the show.
Good evening, Earth 33. This is Alex Jaffe for DC Action News, reporting bravely and boldly every Wednesday as the news breaks from the center of the multiverse. Each week, we bring you the top breaking stories from across our reality, true and consequential in our world, though published in yours as weekly releases from DC Comics. Find DC Action News wherever you listen to podcasts for a fresh perspective on these stories from the people who live it. We're here to save your day.
Hey there, Dark Universe. Dylan here. I'm excited to announce that my band, No Jersey, is revving up to release our first full-length album, entitled Mondo Cool, this spring from Telegraph Hill Records. Stay tuned till the end of the episode to hear our new single, How to Make It in America, which is streaming now wherever you listen to music. If you dig it, please give us a follow on your favorite streaming platform and across social media at No Jersey, No Problem. Thanks. Now back to the podcast.
Welcome back to Are You Afraid of the Dark Universe? You know, in our show, we sort of have a tradition, accidentally, of throwing our hats over the wall and realizing, fuck, now I gotta get that hat. For instance, imagine you just kind of are coming up with ideas for something and you say, hey, in about a year and a half, I'm going to do a Dark Universe version of Field of Dreams. Do I know what that's going to be yet? No, but I've got a year and a half to figure it out. Sometimes our guests do that very same thing with a lot less time. Danielle Radford, you were so excited to bring us your Dark Universe version of the Waterworld Stunt Show. And we are so excited to hear how the fuck you have,
what have you prepared for us
whatever
today?
You prepared for us.
Okay. So, Dr. Henry Jekyll is, a man of the world. Mm-hmm. He goes to Universal Studios Hollywood. And at Universal Studios Hollywood, he sees that there is a Waterworld stunt show. And while he is there, when the crowd work guy in the beginning, the usher, if you will, is hitting people with the super soaker, he hits him, thus making him angry. He turns into Mr. Hyde. When he turns into Mr. Hyde, he decides that he wants to start causing some havoc. And he starts, this is when the Waterworld stunt show, which everyone else thinks around them is fake, becomes real. And so he goes in, he starts like messing stuff up, and no one knows what to do, how to like get this guy off the ledge. Because I don't know if that movie didn't happen. So no one knows how to fix it. Mm-hmm. But he's causing mayhem and confusion in Universal Studios. But while he's doing that, there also happens to be, and I'm breaking all the rules here, baby, there also happens to be the opening of the new Fast and Furious ride.
So this is really a promotional film.
featuring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who's coming in to remind everyone that he's Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and that you should buy his hair shampoo for bald men and his tequila from a Hawaiian. So
we should have known you'd rope a wrestler into this somewhere. Yeah.
I'm me everywhere I go, baby. So The Rock comes in as himself. And he sees that this guy is doing nothing but, like, again, wreaking all of this havoc. So he calls his good friend, Tom Cruise. And because, of course, they're besties. And Tom Cruise comes in. And in this movie, Tom Cruise actually is his character from The Mummy. They are the same guy.
Okay. And he's also an actor?
And he's also an actor. He is Bruce Wayning it. So he's like this archaeologist, actor. He does it all, baby. Mm-hmm. He comes in. He sees his good friend, Mr. Hyde, is like tearing stuff up. And they bring a bunch of other magical people from movies that we hadn't seen because we hadn't seen them yet. And while they're there, something magic begins to happen. And they actually get pulled into the world of the Waterworld Super Show, or this is the Waterworld Stunt Show, which at first, when we go in, is not real. But now they have brought it into our real world. And all of the actors, through the magic of having all of these magic monsters around, have become their characters. Mm-hmm. And so now this is real. They think they're on Waterworld. They don't know what a riser is. They're very confused. They don't know why there's all of these kids watching them. They just go around and start slapping all these kids upside the head. Like, oh, are you dumb? No, you're dumb. No, you're dumb. The Mariner, because he don't care about nobody. He has like that super strength because of the water, we'll say.
Sure.
He grabs Dr. Hyde and pulls him under to get him to change because he can breathe. Dr. Hyde cannot.
Unless he kisses him and does the kissing breathing that they do in the movie.
Unless he kisses him and does the kissing breathing, which I think is also a mermaid thing. So he brings him down until he switches back into the kindly Dr. Henry Jekyll.
Yeah.
And so they think that the world is saved. But that is actually a false ending because then The Rock says, "This is amazing. I should be in this movie." And everyone's like, "Rocky, this isn't a movie. This is like a real thing that just happened. People are terrified. There's helicopters overhead. The cops are coming." And The Rock says, "No, I'm going to take what should have been mine. If Warner Brothers wasn't going to let me take over the DCEU, it's going to let me take over the dark universe." And so then The Rock, because we're still doing magic, much like Ursula at the end of The Little Mermaid, like goes into the water and becomes like Kraken Rock. And Kraken Rock starts like grabbing people, bringing them into the water. If I can't have these movies, no one can have these movies. Here's my ex-wife, Danny Garcia. Sign this paperwork and I'll let you all be free. You know, rock things.
Yeah.
And that is when our hero, Tom Cruise, using the combined power from The Mummy. I don't know, man. I ain't seen that movie in a minute. And Scientology.
Don't worry, we're experts.
Thank you. And Scientology comes in and explains to Dwayne. He just sits him down with that like smile that he does and is like, "Hey, we're all friends here. Like, you can't have this movie. You have to let all of these people go." And he explains to him like, you know, like things such as like why you can't just come in and take over someone's series. And then he explains to him that there are cameras on the helicopters. So unless you want your Q rating to go down, because we all know Dwayne cares very much what people think about him.
Of course.
He's like, if you think the pissing in bottles thing was a problem for you, like holding people hostage at Universal Studios is one of the worst things that you can do. And through the power of love, of having a career, he is able to talk Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson down, and the people are able to go free. And all of the actors in the stunt show, unfortunately, are now stuck as their Waterworld characters in the world of the Dark Universe. And so now all of those, they have to figure out what to do with this new world on land that they don't know how to walk on. And we will just assume that the actors are buried somewhere in their psyche, like screaming that they don't get SAG points for this.
Hey, there's our horror ending.
Yeah, there
our
you go.
Classic Tales from the Crypt horror ending.
This is like the last action hero of Dark Universe projects.
Yeah, so I wasn't sure at the beginning. I was like, are you going to be pitching... Because we did have a theme park episode recently where we all pitched ideas for Dark Universe theme park rides with Alicia Stella from Theme Park Stop. And so I was wondering if you were going to be pitching a Dark Universe stunt show of a kind. But no, you're pitching a movie called The Waterworld Stunt Show, is my understanding.
Yeah.
And I love
tons of tie-ins, fun for the whole family.
Well, what it reminds me of is like, you know, back in the day for like Disney World, they would make like specials like set at Disney World that were like promos for the parks, but also had like characters you recognized from the Disney Channel and stuff.
Right, they like air them on
or
Wonderful
like
World of Disney
ABC.
or whatever.
Yeah, on ABC, Wonderful World of Disney and stuff like that. This feels like it could be not just a promo for the new Fast and Furious ride opening at Universal Hollywood this summer, but because of the Rock tie-in, it could also be a promo for our film Mystery Men, which came out a couple months ago and starred Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as the Scorpion King. And so when he gets sucked into the movie, he doesn't just become the Kraken. He becomes the Scorpion Kraken.
Right.
And he's got the big claws coming out, and he's got a stinger, but he's also a water creature. And we use this as like a Peacock special event that both advertises the parks, Universal Hollywood, and also the Dark Universe, and the latest installation in the blockbuster franchise with Mystery Men, written by my good friend Dylan Roth here. It seems perfect. The other thing that we could do with it, if I mean, Danielle, you're the mastermind here, so you feel free to accept or reject any pitches.
Right, but as producers, we are here to just completely steamroll past your idea and pitch something else back at you. That
your EPs. That's what you do.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna fight that for you not to get a writing credit until SAG makes us. And
it's like Dwayne's in the room.
Yeah, we'll give you a story by at the end. Yeah. So I mentioned earlier Branson Reese, who was on the show previously. I'm always doing this with pitches, but Branson Reese pitched his version of our Abbott and Costello Meet the Monsters. And he got, as our modern Abbott and Costello, to be Pete Davidson and Larry David. And they would do a yearly special on Peacock, Dark Universe themed, where they would get into hijinks. We have previously written them into our Five Nights at Freddy's Christmas special. They have their own David and Davidson Meet the Grabber from the Black Phone.
And we opened up also, we wanted to do one where David and Davidson get purged, where they go through the purge.
Yes. Oh. It feels like they could be good POV characters for us at the beginning. Like they come in just to enjoy a day at the parks, and they sit right behind Dr. Henry Jekyll, who of course is Russell Crowe.
Of course.
Who would have a blast, I like to think.
Russell Crowe would eat this up.
Yes. And he's not dressed for a day at the park. He's wearing his like vest and like three-piece suit. Like
he's hot as hell.
It's driving Larry David crazy. He's like, I don't understand. He's sitting right here in the splash. You're in the splash zone.
Yeah, the suit's gonna get all wet. There's no dry cleaners in the park.
He's living on the edge, Larry.
And they would be kind of our POV character as all of this unfolds. And they would, of course, get roped into the stunt show. You've got Pete Davidson in the cage, ziplining across, while Larry David chases him around. Larry David on a jet ski, like, I don't know how this thing works,
Oh, my God. I imagine him, like, on top of the plane as the plane pops out through the water.
Yes. But we would need a stunt Larry. So it's actually Christopher Daniels.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
You know what? I like it so much. I think not only is it a Peacock special, but we do a what is it?
Like a Fathom
event.
Oh, I think I want to see this on a big stream.
Yeah.
The Stunt Spectacular is an immersive experience.
That's right.
I think we should pull an Inhumans good version, and we should book some IMAX screens for this motherfucker.
Or
can we do it in 4D where there's somebody spraying water on the audience and maybe an usher spits in your mouth?
It's in the movie.
But at the very end, we get our big twist, and then we zoom out to see that this whole movie has been a new ride at Universal called the Waterworld Stunt Show, the movie, the ride. Where everyone has been watching a 4D movie of what we've just seen. And Pete Davidson is sitting there watching and is like, Larry, you told me someone was going to spit in my mouth.
Okay. I think that's as far as the tortoises can go. I don't think we can go any further.
We shouldn't stack any more turtles on this one.
I think that's the maximum number of tortoises.
Now, of course, so we would have. Let's talk about if it's canon. Let's talk about the canon compatibility.
I don't know if we could pull it off as a piece of the canon.
I think it's dubious canon, of course. But I do like the idea of Nick Morton, Tom Cruise's character from The Mummy, basically acting like Tom Cruise. Although, since everyone's kind of turning into movie counterparts, does he need to? Like, maybe the premise here is that all these actors are going to Universal Studios and there's some magic afoot that's turning them into their characters.
Yeah.
So, Russell, maybe there's like some, you know what? They're all here to attend the Fast and Furious opening. Russell Crowe is there.
Because he's probably in the next one.
He's probably in the
won't
next one.
be?
Yeah.
Who won't
And
be
he's
in
a
the next
joiner.
one? Yeah.
Yes.
Known joiner.
Absolutely.
Yeah. He plays Mr. Nobody's father in the next Fast and Furious movie. I feel like maybe Mr. Nobody's father has already been a character. I can't keep track of the lore there. But so
everybody's dad's mom, sister.
Look, their family. Everyone's family. So Russell Crowe, Tom Cruise, and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson all appear. And there's some sort of magic afoot that is turning them into their movie characters. And that's the magic of Universal Studios Hollywood. And that's what we're selling here is like, this place is so magical. It's not just like you're in the movies. You are becoming the movies.
Right. Come to Universal Studios Hollywood and become the movie version of yourself.
And Larry David and Pete Davidson could just be themselves, right? Because they are.
They always basically play themselves
Evan
and
Kinsella
stuff.
were just themselves.
I like the idea that at some point during the special, they also get turned into their characters and they're just exactly the same.
Yeah, they're the same dudes. Yeah,
they're just the same dudes. They're like, well, nothing happened. And so here, is there who should be the magical interloper?
Our initial antagonist before Rock turns heel on us, as he does.
Who is turning all of these people who's turning Waterworld real? Who's turning
I think it's got to be Dennis Hopper as Dennis Hopper. We've already said Dennis Hopper, wild energy.
Is he alive?
Didn't he die?
I think he might be dead.
He died in 2010.
That's never stopped Hollywood.
He did die.
Okay, so
No, here's what we do. Oh, go ahead. You have an idea. Go ahead.
Well, no, because my only idea was going to be like in the same way if like the mummy can like, you know, be unearthed. We'll say that there's like a magical artifact that someone is carrying and it carries within it the spirit of Dennis Hopper.
I like that.
Like Paul Bearer's urn.
Yeah.
What if Universal is experimenting for a new ride? This is our cold open. Universal is in their what are they called? Imagineers. That's Disney
the
World.
Disney term,
But you know, in their little labs, they're experimenting with a holographic Dennis Hopper.
Right.
We want to make sure we can provide an immortal avatar to our least problematic star.
Yes. We're gonna make.
We also have a prototype James Woods that we're working on while he's still alive. Just getting that program.
What was his? Oh, you know what? Because they just opened the Mario Land.
Right, so he's King Koopa.
He's King Koopa.
We're reclaiming the discarded masterpiece that is the original Super Mario Brothers movie.
A meet and greet with holographic King Koopa at the new Mario Land. And they're just experimenting. They don't know if they're going to do it. But the hologram goes rogue. Or does the ghost of Dennis Hopper get so upset that he rises from the grave to stop
I think he rises from the grave. I think as a Universal movie, we've got to like embrace the ghostness of it. I think that he rises from the grave and is so upset that they would like do this. And he doesn't get residues. Nah, he doesn't like it.
Yes, he He's upset not about the desecration of his memory and body, but because he's not getting paid for it.
This could be Hollywood's well-earned reckoning for the digital resurrection of dead actors without their consent.
He gets pissed. He comes back and destroys the hologram. And at the end, there will be a fight between zombie Dennis Hopper and hologram Dennis Hopper.
Yes.
And he also, because he has like undead, he's a mummy now, basically. I mean, he's not mummified, but he's like a zombie. And he comes back and casts some sort of spell that starts turning. He's like, oh, you want us all to just play your parts forever, huh? Well, how do you like it? And turns everyone into their characters from the movies. And so, yeah, Russell Crowe, Tom Cruise, the Scorpion King.
I'm just laughing because we're imagining, like, we're taking the dead angle now, but like the idea of Dennis Hopper playing a rogue AI version of himself, and Russell Crowe, star virtuosity, is right there. Mm-hmm. He played that character.
Well, now he has to play Dr. Jekyll because this is a Dark Universe tie-in.
He signed on for all the movies. That's, you got to do what you got to. You sign the contract as will be explained to Dwayne The Rock Johnson at some point.
We should have some sort of montage, like sort of like a Nightmare Before Christmas type thing, where like of all the families on the rides as the rides like kind of come to life, right? Are they not coming? It's just actors, right? I guess so. Like
there's just actors, but we can do whatever we want to if we want to make it so that like giant the Simpsons roller coaster actually becomes a big boy roller coaster and like runs through. Maybe the Simpsons roller coaster comes through instead of the plane at the end.
That would be fun. That it's a
maximum overdrive style.
Well, no, what they ride, because the new Fast and Furious ride is a roller coaster.
Oh yeah, they ride that right in.
That ride like breaks apart because of whatever action is happening. There's like the Rock snips it with his big scorpion claws, and the car goes flying off the track and over the ledge into the Waterworld stunt show at the end.
I'm just thinking about the poor fan who tries to write a plot synopsis of this movie.
On our wiki,
on our Wikipedia.
Have fun.
It's all canon.
It's all canon, baby.
It's as canon as anything else.
I really like the idea because in sort of the kayfabe of the show, the Dark Universe has been a massively successful franchise, enough that they've made 30 movies.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to get Electric State movie for money for this, even though it's a streaming thing.
Yeah.
It's because, and this might actually make a return on investment because it's going to draw people to the parks.
That's right. But this is advertising for the Dark Universe, for the parks. It's its own thing that people are buying tickets for to watch at Fathom events.
And their local 4DX theater.
And buying Peacock Premium subscriptions. And then we can sell merch at the parks.
Love merch.
Wouldn't you want a shirt that says The Waterworld Stunt Show, the movie, the ride?
The t-shirt.
The t-shirt.
The t-shirt. Yeah, The Rock will come out with like a special tequila, like just for this. For mom and dad. Yeah.
He's going to record his own podcast about how he pitched this episode.
Yeah. It's still going to be called Dark Universe Pod.
Yeah, never heard of Danielle Radford. I came into the room and I said, folks, what we need to do is we need to make a Waterworld stunt show based ride based movie.
Yeah.
Starring me, Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Now, Danielle, I'm so glad that you were sensitive to The Rock's contract requirements because, as we know, he cannot lose a fight in any movies. And so because you know this is a real thing that's going to get made, you made it so that he gets talked down.
He'd get talked down because, absolutely. He cannot lose a physical fight in a movie. So turning him back into a face and into a good guy is like the only way that we're going to get him to make sure that he signs on.
Yes, absolutely. And so I think that was very wise of you. Oh, and then of course we end with zombie Dennis Hopper getting lit on fire at the top of, because that's what happens in the stunt show.
Part of the finale of the stunt show is
the deacon gets set on fire and falls into the water. And here's the other thing about this. This may seem like a silly idea.
Oh, this is a silly idea.
No. Deadly serious.
Deadly serious. But also, I think we live in an age where, as you were saying earlier, the sort of forcing the dark universe down people's throats didn't go well, right? That the fact that they came out the gate, we are a little resistant to that kind of like advertising of, it feels very corporate. But I think taking a sort of ironic, detached, silly approach to this is the way to get people to watch it. Like, I don't think you could do the straight up just like, here's Universal Studios Hollywood, jewel of the West Coast, or whatever kind of like promo thing. You make it all these turtles on top of each other of like, man, I really gotta watch that thing that's like, it's Tom Cruise and The Rock and they're in Waterworld, but it's also the dark universe. And also I heard there's a musical number in the middle. Like we gotta watch this.
Like Tim Robinson directs this.
Yeah. We get someone who's keyed in on the absurdity,
Yeah.
Did you have a director in mind?
Oh, a director for this? I kind of assumed that The Rock was going to try to direct it because it would be the only way that he would be attached.
Yeah. Well, and it's Waterworld, so Kevin Costner might try to direct.
They could be co-directors, which like crosses each other out.
Kevin Costner says, I'm directing this or we're pulling Yellowstone off Peacock.
Oh, no.
That's incredible leverage.
I like that at the end, he shows up in his Yellowstone costume and is just sort of watching all the chaos and is like, I don't want nothing to do with that, and walks off.
Yeah. Stoic as ever. Just stoic and just nothing going on behind the eyes.
Not giving us any performance. Well, that's a lovely idea.
Danielle, I was like, how is this going to work? And you came in with not just like a little idea, you came in with like a big idea.
I came in with every idea. Mm-hmm. I was like, if I can't, the only way to make this work is if this is everything.
And you have the beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah, it is a complete pitch.
Yep.
Yeah.
For the craziest thing we've ever had on the show.
I'm glad you did this because we really hope that the thing that will stop Universal from sending us a cease and desist is if we advertise the theme parks every once in a while.
Yeah.
So we did. Did you know that they're opening a Dark Universe park in the Florida park right now?
Yeah, there's it's
no that can't possibly.
It is absolutely true.
They
it
are
opens
reclaiming
next
the
month.
Dark Universe brand. If you want to hear more about it, you can listen to our episode about the real Dark Universe theme park that's opening
in May.
It is.
We're not lying to you.
They're
I
rebooting
would never lie
it.
to you.
It has nothing to do with the Mummy 2017. Unfortunately for us,
it is just a park area for all the classic Universal monsters, and there's a Wolfman roller coaster.
Okay. They've developed new versions of all of the characters, and they created a new mythology around.
Danny Elfman did the score for the park. Did you know that?
That's not
that might rip.
Yeah.
That might be really cool.
We're planning a visit, and it should be. I don't know. Seems like it should be tight.
And we didn't even get a story by credit, so
yeah.
Boo.
We need the Rock's clout to help us out.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Danielle. Is there anything you want to add to the pitch? Did we leave out any nooks and crannies that are unexplored?
I don't think it's possible that we could have left anything out. If I'm being honest, we made every movie, y'all. We made every movie that's ever been made.
Well, thank you for adding the Waterworld Stunt Show, the movie, to our. What is your preferred title for this? Do you have a preferred title?
This out.
No, I think Universal Presents the Waterworld Stunt Show, the movie, the ride is like the perfect title.
Adding Universal Presents is good. At a certain point, you just need to make the title as long as possible.
Yeah. Or what are we doing here?
Well, thank you very much. This is a delightful addition to our canon. We will make it happen, and it will happen for real. Tell all of our fans, who honestly, most of them are probably already Danielle Radford fans.
Yeah, we got a lot of dropout folks in like our Discord and such who are big fans, and we have a pretty good wrestling fan contingent, and I imagine they're aware of you. But in case you're just hearing about Danielle Radford for the very first time, where can they find you on the internet?
Oh yeah, you can find me on any of the socials. I always put my stuff, so you can find me on the Pretty People website. I'm still there until they completely bork that. You can find me on Blue Sky. Both of them will be versions of my name, and it will be the one with the picture that looks like me, unless it's trying to sell you a laptop, in which case it is not me. And then Yeah, so if you are into the wrestling, I helped consult on the Titan Takedown season of Dimension 20. Really excited for everybody to see that. That was super fun. Got to be in production instead of like on the cast for the first time, which was so great. So yeah, go and check out that. And then Tights and Fights. I think new episodes every like Saturday on Max Fun, and that's a real fun time as well. And then other than that, if you want to see more of my nonsense, get more hot Hello Kitty takes, you can just find me on my socials.
And I believe that y'all are in the middle of the Max Fun Drive as we record this.
Yes, we are in the middle of Max Fun Drive right now as we are recording this. So if folks, there's tons of information. There's great gifts. You can for like, I think like as low as like $5 a month, maybe even lower, you can boost for like $1 or something like that. Go on over to maximumfun.org/join if you want to check out like, any of the stuff you can get for the drive. And if you're listening to this and it's not the drive, you can still join at any time. You don't have to do it during the drive. This is just our big time during the year when we remind people of all the cool stuff and you get cool gifts. But you can do this anytime during the year if you want to listen to me talk about nonsense.
And speaking of supporting your favorite podcasts for $5 a month, we'd like to shout out some of our patrons who have subscribed to the show on patreon.com/Dylan and Dalton at the $15 and $25 a month levels and bought themselves a little shout out on the show. Thank you to our executive producers, Brian Egan, Brent Dreyer, The Real Nick Morton, Mar Bendlar, Matt Thackeray, and Soon Mott. Thank you very much for your $15 a month and for being executive producers with us. And thank you to our studio executives. These are folks who have subscribed at $25 a month and not only purchase themselves a shout out on every episode that we record during their tenure, but also get to pick one of the studio mandate movies that we have to pitch a remake for on our bonus podcast, Are You Afraid of Dylan and Dalton?
And Waterworld is still up for grabs.
That's true.
Because we did not pitch Waterworld here.
That's right. Thank you very much to Alyssa, Beerus, BotBotB, Bill French, Jonathan Morgantini, Joe Valiant, Moose, and Tom Webster. We really appreciate your continued support.
And also, go and support Maximum Fun. And I don't just say that because we're sucking up to Maximum Fun.
We do want them to like us.
We do, but also because they are a great network and you should support them. And Danielle Radford is on there, as well as Lindsay Kelk, who you all know from The Covenant.
Yeah. Really fun episode. If this is by any chance your first episode and you're here because you're a fan of Danielle and Tights and Fights, please check out Lindsay Kelk's recent episode about The Covenant. It's a hoot. We had a great time.
And then we have
She's just
other episodes as well that are longer.
Yeah, go ahead and check out the whole Dark Universe canon.
There's a wiki to catch you up. Anyway, Danielle, we won't take up any more of your time. We know it's getting into WrestleMania season. I'm sure you got tons of stuff to do. But thank you so much for being on here. We're both huge fans. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
And until next... Oh, wait, you know what? In 2 weeks, stay tuned because in 2 weeks, Dylan will be pitching his final solo pitch of the Death's Door saga called Field of Nightmares.
And it will be called Field of Nightmares.
We know for sure
It's not going to be renamed Field of Screams. I will tell you what, it's really surprising to me. This has become less zany and more sincere as I've been writing it. And it's going to be closer in tone to Field of Dreams than I imagined.
Isn't this 2 Kevin Costner adaptations in a row?
Yes, it is. This is like how we did 2 Peter Falk episodes, the bonus pod.
It's the summer of Costner here on Are You Afraid of the Dark Universe? And then the only official pitch left is the Dark Legion Hell on Earth, our big end game finale to the Death's Door saga.
We've been building up to now for almost 3 years. It'll be 3 years when it comes out. Holy shit.
So stick around for all that.
30 canon pitches.
That's right. Stick around for that. And until next time,
stay afraid of the Dark Universe.